What's up, guys? Horror Man back for another review. So today we're going to take a look at the Friday the 13th The Game Ultimate Savini Jason action figure. So Tom Savini did design a character design for the game, and you basically had to get it through Kickstarter. If you don't know, that game actually started with a Kickstarter. So if you were one of the supporters, you got the outfit. So pretty cool design, and many people have requested this as a figure over the years. Now the Friday the 13th brand has been on a hiatus with pretty much every company making collectibles. And a lot of these brands are able to continue the figures with this Friday the 13th, the game, logo on it. So at least there was a bit of a workaround with this. So it does look like we'll be getting much more Jason figures in the future, which is great. So just taking a look at the packaging here, it does look really good. You got this embossed look to the box, and I don't think we've ever got this with a Jason figure. I know we got it with like Trick or Treat, at least one of the Super Shredders from Ninja Turtles, and a few other different figures, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've seen a Jason figure with this. So yeah, you get that logo for the game here. It says features glowing eyes, which is really cool. We'll look at that later. You got the Savini Jason on the front here. Of course, Tom Savini, longtime horror props master, been around for many, many years. Very cool looking here. Got the little hang tag at the top. Another cool image of the Savini Jason there. Just the logo with NECA on both sides. A couple little like wraparound pieces with the trident going around to the side. Got an awesome, montage of different Jason poses and just kind of highlighting some of the features this has. You see a lot of those kind of glowing eyes with the fire in the background. This is basically him in hell. At the very bottom, it does kind of give you a little description of all the different pieces that come with him. And then at the bottom, this gives you all the credits for who's involved. Open the flap, standard ultimate flap, and then you have the really cool picture of the figure with the trident. And then on the inside, of course, you can see the figure clearly displayed inside of the packaging. So, been a long time since we've had an Ultimate Jason figure. I think the last one was, it's definitely the New Blood, besides some of the re-releases. And then we did get a Friday the 13th Pam Voorhees Ultimate, which was last year, I believe. So, but let's go ahead and get this out of the box, have a closer look. Now, before we get to the figure, I did want to show you this cool little backdrop that you get with this. It is embossed, just like the packaging is. And it's really cool. You get this kind of like crystal lake on fire type of background. I guess it's Jason's own personal hell. But it looks really cool, and it definitely, accents the figure. And of course, you can put your figure in there and do some toy photography. Alright, so let's go ahead and get a nice close-up of the first head sculpt. You do get a few different head sculpts with Jason, some options. Let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. Alright, so taking a look at the first head sculpt, and again, this is the one that's on him inside of the box. Now, you only get one light-piped head. It kind of made it seem like all of them were like that on the back of the box, the way it's written. So I don't know if something changed along the lines, but you only get one of those, and that's not this one. This is going to be the non-light piped head. So you really can't see the eyes too much, and it is a very dark, dark look. So, but really cool looking design, just like a black mask. You can see one of the like chevron markers right at the, around the forehead, which is really cool. Take a 3/4 view of this guy, and you can see the like scars on his face like you would normally see. He's got that New Blood kind of cracked mask, which is really cool. But I liked it like through the scars. It's not just like blood, it's actually like glowing. Obviously he's in hell, so he's got like the flames of hell like inside of him. It's just pretty damn cool. I like the straps for the mask. Definitely a classic looking, like I said, like New Blood kind of era Jason. It looks really good. And then over to the right side of his face, this is more of the better condition part of the mask, which looks really cool. Again, very dark mask, but yeah, no real damage on there other than the scratches on there. But you can see just a little bit more detail in the head with that kind of glowing scar he's got going on. And finally to the back of the head, again, really cool straps for the mask, very classic Jason. No real damage to the back of the head here. And again, this is the non-light pipe head. You really can't see the eyes that well. I'll try to shine some light on them so you can see them just a little bit better. But yeah, you can't really see the eyes too well. But it kind of looks like a glow-in-the-dark type of paint. But anyway, you do get a couple different interchangeable heads with this. So the first one you get is basically the non-light pipe version, which is pretty cool. So it basically just goes along with that head sculpt that he has on now. And then you also get the light pipe version, which is really cool. And if you look at like the back of the head, you can see that little window that they put in there, like the clear plastic, which allows the light to shine through the eyes. So pretty cool. And then you also get a hockey mask, because this one here is not removable. So this will allow you to put the mask onto either one of those other head sculpts. So go ahead and interchange the head here. You do have to be careful with this chain. You don't want to break that. Not too bad to pop it off. I had to do it off camera, unfortunately. But standard peg here. And we'll go ahead and put the regular head sculpt on here. Alright, so taking a look at that first unmasked head, and of course, like I said, it is the non-light piped version. And I mean, this one looks really good. You could see all the different scars on the face. Again, like any hole in his head pretty much is showing fire. Like he's got a fire inside of his body. I mean, it's insane. But yeah, all the different scars he's taken over the years. See a bunch of scratches around his face. Just see that kind of flame glowing look going all through him. It kind of looks like a glow-in-the-dark head. It doesn't glow in the dark. It just has that kind of paint to it, which we've seen NECA do before. But it looks really good. Turn to the side, you can definitely see more of those scars going through. Just really cool damage all throughout his face. And then looking at the right side of the face, again, just a ton of scarring all throughout. Just looks really, really good. And with that paint, it shows up really well. And then to the back, again, no real damage on there, just this big bald. And here's just a real quick comparison with that light piped head sculpt. And I'll look at that one in a second. I did want to show you that you can put this mask on the head sculpt, which is awesome. It's always nice to have the options with these figures. Just line up the eyes, and yeah, you can just put the mask right on there if you want that classic, removable mask Jason. And here he is with that removable mask again. He does look really cool. But if you like that non-removable, you also have that option. They look pretty much the same. I always prefer the removable mask because you get that extra accessory as opposed to it being glued on to here. But it does look really cool. So again, just really awesome look for this Tom Savini Jason. Alright, and then finally to the light piped head, which is probably the star of the show with this. Again, it's only going to be glowing through the eyes. You're not going to see any more light emulating through the scars or anything. I'll try to cover it up a little bit just to show you how much light you can see going through those eyes, which looks really good. But yeah, you're not going to see any more light coming through the scars or anything. It's going to be the same as what you saw with the other head sculpt. Now when you turn the head to the side, you can definitely see that window kind of showing there. So yeah, you can see why they would want to give us just a regular head sculpt as well, so you don't see that window on top. Now the hockey mask, just like the other head sculpt I just had in my hand, the unmasked head sculpt, you can put that on this, light piped head as well. And yeah, man, look how much different this looks. This looks far better than that first head sculpt without the light piping. Like again, you couldn't even see the eyes. This one you could really see the eyes glowing. And I even darkened down the light just to show you a little bit more, and I'll cover it up with my hand. But yeah, you could definitely see the lights in those eyes way, way better. But yeah, he looks awesome. Like, this is a fantastic head sculpt. And again, though, you know, you can kind of see the window and the head just a little bit if you turn to the side. So gonna be a little bit better for like the front view, or just something you just want to put on your shelf. You're not worried about the aesthetic of taking a picture. But yeah, just really cool all around. I love all the different options. They all have their own purpose. Although I can't see myself using the non-removable head sculpt that much. But it is nice to have all these different options. Alright, so taking a look at the rest of the body, starting with the torso here, there is a lot of details going on. I mean, this is the most details I've seen in a Jason figure that NECA's made, probably since that New Blood figure, because that one is very elaborate with the details. But this one's a lot of details as well, and it definitely mimics some of the damage from New Blood. But you can see all these chains are all wrapped around him. Now, you have to be a little careful with those because some of them are glued in place. Matter of fact, most of them are. But when you take the head sculpt off, they do become a little bit more loose. Like you can see how this will move a good amount. So make sure you position that the way you want. But as for the ones on like the waist and the arm, those are all pretty well glued in place. But I really like the way it looks. It's like he's chained to hell. But yeah, you can see the different scars in the outfit here. You can see some of these like really big wounds showing. One of my favorite things is these little spikes on his right shoulder. I just think that looks so cool. Very unique to this version. Definitely not something I remember from any other Jason. But it really reflects like he's kind of been in hell and it's starting to kind of take its form onto him. So just really cool details all around. Taking a look at the back of the figure, again, just really cool details going on. It's not just a plain back either. There's plenty of scars going on. You can see a couple battle wounds on his back. You can even see some like almost cracking and wrinkling in the shirt itself. You can see that shoulder again with those little spikes. It just looks so cool. Just this huge wound in his shoulder. Just really badass. Over to that right arm again, just like around that shoulder area. This whole right side, you got a lot more damage than the left. You can see he's got this wicked scar on his right arm. He's got a few little scratch marks on there. But one thing I really like about it is he's got this like blistered, burnt skin. You could really see the texture show up if you look close enough. Even his hands are very blistered and burnt looking. And if you look here, you could really see what I mean with the hand. It's just very blistered looking, very dark and burnt. It just looks crazy, man. I love the chain wrapped around his left arm. It's just really cool. So you kind of have the sleeve pulled up on the right arm with just the scars showing, but then left arm you got these chains. Even has this kind of like cuff around the wrist, which looks really good. So yeah, man, I think they went all out with this design in general, but NECA really captured it with this figure. And yeah, man, the details on those hands and the scars, just the texture, the burnt, blistered effect, all of it just goes really well with this design. Again, NECA just really knocked it out of the park, capturing all these different mediums of how to really bring this Tom Savini figure to life. Alright, and then finally down to the lower half of Jason here. This is where you don't see quite as much details usually across pretty much all the Jason figures, except for maybe a New Blood. But you do have some different damage going on here. You can see right here around the top part, around the waist. You can see some damage, some of his kind of scarred up, burnt up flesh showing through those pants. Got his traditional belt, of course. You can see a little bit of the chains around there. Got some really nice wrinkling in the pants. NECA's always good with, just doing that, just sculpting any kind of wrinkles and things. You got a couple little holes in the knees and a couple more on the right leg here. And again, you can see that kind of flesh kind of showing through there, all burnt up, which looks awesome. The shoes, they're a little clean, I think, for being in hell. They could have been a little bit dirtier, in my opinion. You do have the peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Again, really nice wrinkling all throughout. You can see the seams in the pants and different things that you generally see with those NECA Jason figures. Got the back pockets, little scar on the back, really not much damage on the back of the pants in general, but the details are all still there. So really well detailed figure all around. So besides the interchangeable heads and the hockey mask, you do get some options for more interchangeable parts. So you do have 6 interchangeable hands all together, basically 3 sets. We've already looked at the ones that are on the body, which are these nice relaxed hands, and you saw the blistered skin all burnt up. But those are really good for expressive hands and maybe some different ways of holding the trident, which we'll look at in a minute. But I do like the gripping hands. It's always nice to have those. You could always use some of the other weapons you have with other Jason releases if you want, even though this one primarily wields that one weapon. Now, what's weird about this is you not only get 1 set of gripping hands, you actually get 2, which I don't really understand why. So yeah, you do have 2 sets of gripping hands. I would have rather them given us like some fist hands or something like that. There is a chance that the palm has a slightly different indent on it, maybe for holding the trident in different spots. Maybe the inner part of the hand needed to be open more. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, so that's the interchangeable hands that you get. We'll go ahead and interchange the hand on his right hand, since that's the one he's going to wield the weapon. You can see it comes out of there pretty easy, standard peg system. And then we'll just go ahead and put this gripping hand on here. So yeah, very easy to interchange the hands, and they lock in pretty nice. Alright, so here he is with his trident, and this is such a unique accessory for Jason. I wanted to show like the fork part of this first, with a little bit of hint of Jason's head, of course. But yeah, you can see how it looks like it's been molded by hell. I mean, it is just a really crazy weapon. It's very like organic kind of looking, not just like regular metal. It just looks like it's just like burnt. It's just really cool, man. I just love the way this looks. It's not like perfect, so like one fork's just a little bit shorter than the other, and then the one in the middle kind of looks like a spearhead, so just really, really cool looking. And it is a longer weapon, of course. You can kind of rotate it in his hand a little bit just to show the other side. Again, just really good details going through there. Just looks like burnt metal. I mean, it's awesome. So really like the uniqueness of this design, and the accessory is just as unique. And the lower part of the trident is really cool too. Of course, it's got kind of like a stabbing weapon at the end. And again, it looks very like organic, almost like something you'd see out of like one of the Alien movies, like H.R. Geiger era. But just really, really cool looking. And you can get Jason in some two-handed poses, of course. It would probably look better without that background. You can see how big that trident is. So just put that other gripping hand on. You can open up the fingers just a little bit, which I recommend. Don't just try to slide the trident through his hands without doing that. You might break something. But yeah, just really cool to see him in some different poses. Just really menacing weapon. Alright, so the final accessory that you get with Jason kind of brings this whole look to life in some way. So you get this like smoke that can come off of him, so he's all burnt up, of course. Might as well make him smoke So you can put this on a couple different ways, but I think this hooks in really nicely. So if you just want this smoke effect coming off of your Jason, you could definitely do that. It doesn't like click in or anything like that. It just kind of rests over his shoulder. But I do think it's a really cool effect. It looks like he's like just emerging from hell, all burnt up and just kind of on fire, smoking. So really cool look anyway if you want. You don't have to use this, but again, it attaches very simple. It just kind of rests on the shoulder. And here's just like a quick shot of him with the trident and that smoke. So again, really cool. Now I will say I really love like the little spikes on the side, so it kind of does cover up one of my favorite parts of the figure. So again, just nice to have the option if you want that. So taking a look at the articulation for Jason here, it's not going to be anything extravagant, but it definitely will get the job done. So I always love how expressive his head is. You got some really good rotation here. Of course, you can move all around. You can look up a decent amount, look down as well. The arms go out pretty far. You got your T-pose going right here. Looks good. Arms go down about that far. Rotation, of course, at the shoulder. You're going to get single hinged elbows on here, which kind of sucks. I wish we got a little bit more than that, but you can see that it does move pretty good. So, I mean, you get damn near a double. I feel like you get a lot more on that right arm than you do on that left arm. It's probably because of the sleeve is a little bit different, I'm not sure. Nothing at the waist, and that chain doesn't really help. You can like bend down and back. Great split on here. Actually get a decent kick. Holy cow, that's probably the best kick I've seen Jason have. So yeah, this crotch piece here does actually not limit it too much. You got the single jointed knee. Don't really do much with the legs with Jason anyway. Can't go back as far. Down a little bit. Not much rocking going on either. The cuffs around the pants kind of hurt. It's like right at that articulation point. But overall, pretty much what you'd expect for a Jason figure. He stands pretty good. He is a little top heavy with all these chains. It's not too crazy, but again, he does stand pretty. And if you want that more classic Jason feel, again, you could use different weapons from your other Jason figures. Like this is from Mezco, Jason Goes to Hell. You got that bloody machete. So you can get your classic Jason look if you so desire. NECA did this light piping before with some other figures. So here's the Freddy Krueger, which is based off the Part 3 Dream Warriors movie. And if I cover it up a little bit, maybe you could see it a little bit better. But basically the cross has the light piping, so you could see the light coming through the head. I do think the piping works a little bit better with the Jason. This is a little bit older Freddy figure. For the first comparison, here he is with that same Part 3 Freddy on the left, and then of course you have the TV series version of Chucky, and he is a little tall, but with these horror icons, they're generally a little bit taller, so I think he looks really good with Jason. And of course you have Michael Myers, I believe that's from H2O, and then you have the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's the older Ultimate. It's not that newer one. I haven't got that one yet. But I do think they look really good next to each other. Obviously, Jason is the tall one of the group. Here he is next to a couple NECA Ultimate Jasons. So you have the Part 4 Jason, which is also a Tom Savini design Jason. He did all like the makeup effects and things like that for Part 4. And then of course you have the NES Jason, and this is the original release, which was an exclusive. So it has the translucent hands, feet, and even a translucent mask. Now there is another version you can get, the modern version, which I also have. It has like the sound activated box, and that's actually been re-released, so if you want to get that. Here he is with a couple more NECA Ultimate Jasons. So you have the 2009 remake version. Now that does have a custom hockey mask done by my buddy Anthony Kane, so shout out to him for doing just badass work on that. And then you have the New Blood Jason, which is part 7. And again, you can see this version's a little bit taller, which is pretty crazy. For the last NECA Ultimate comparison, here he is with the 1990 TMNT Casey Jones, and then you have the original Pamela Voorhees 1980 Friday the 13th figure. And yeah, these look awesome next to each other. You can see how much bigger he is than Casey and Pam. Here he is with a couple older NECA figures made by different companies, both based on Jason Goes to Hell. So you have the original Movie Maniacs version, which is one of my first Jason figures that I ever bought. The very first one is the non-bloody. Now this does have a custom freak hockey mask, which is badass. And then you have the Mezco Cinema of Fear Jason Goes to Hell, which again is an older figure. I cannot wait until NECA releases a Jason Goes to Hell. It is my top one from them, and I just can't believe they're actually coming out with it soon, so I'm very happy. But yeah, there's all three of these guys next to each other, and again, the NECA one is huge. Here he is next to a couple other guys that have been through hell. So you have the Mortal Kombat video game version of Spawn, which is made by McFarlane Toys, of course. And then you have the Darkman, which is a very old figure made by Soda, which is part of their Now Playing line. So again, Jason is huge next to these. Alright, and for the final comparison, here he is with the cloth Jason figures. So you have the Friday the 13th Part 3 in that 6-inch scale, which is part of the Mezco 112 Collective. And then you have a bit of a taller Jason, which is like 8-inch scale, and that's the NECA cloth line, which is kind of that retro Mego style. But you can see they're a little tall for this one. Now, I will say, you could see with this retro figure how much, like, he's even bigger than that one, which is crazy. So this is definitely a very hulking, big Jason. So pretty impressive with how tall he is. Alright, so that's my review of the Savini Jason based on the Friday the 13th game. And overall, man, I think this is a really impressive figure. It's definitely much different from any other NECA Jason you had, or really any other, Jason figure you have in your collection. It's just so different from what I have on the shelf already, like from the smoke effect, to the chains, to the light pipe dies, to this trident that's forged in hell. I mean, it's just so different from what I'm used to. And I think Savini was really shooting for that when he designed this. He didn't want to do the exact same thing we've seen before, but he definitely brought back elements like the Freddy scratched mask, the crack in the mask from like the New Blood era, and just like some of the damage where you see the ribs and things, again, from that New Blood era. But it also is something different. It's not the traditional Jason that you're used to, so it just really makes for a fun figure to put on your shelf, and again, just not something you're going to see again and not something that you've seen before. I really do love that they gave like multiple, options for Jason, so if you want to have the mask where it's like stuck on, you could do that. But again, I've always been more of a fan of the mask like able to be just taken off, so it makes for a really cool, accessory. You can hang that off of his trident, I don't know. But it just looks really cool. I just like all the different options with this. And again, that light piping in the head really works. It really shows up well. I just can't wait to take some pictures with this guy. I really don't have any gripes with this figure. The 2 sets of gripping hands doesn't quite make a lot of sense to me, but it is extra hands, so it's kind of hard to complain about that. But everything works really good. I would, just say to be careful around the trident. Try not to like squeeze this weird or try to unravel the chain or anything. But yeah, for the most part, I don't have any complaints. I think this is a great release. I think they did everything they needed to. You got the right accessories. And even though he doesn't have much of any other weapons, I do like that they added the smoke accessory just to have something. And again, having all these options with the, you know, removable mask, the non-removable mask, the light pipe head, the non-light piped head, you know, you got plenty of options. So yeah, overall, it's a great release, and I think the embossed packaging and this little backdrop really help sell the whole thing, and it really looks good in pictures. So yeah, man, this is a great release. Alright, so that's it for my review. I will be reviewing the next two Jason Ultimate video games coming out whenever they release. So you have the Jason Takes Manhattan and the Jason Goes to Hell. Very excited for those. I'd love to fill in my collection. Those have been missing for years. Now, I do debate if we're going to get a Jason X, because even though the people behind the game designed a Jason X, which was the Uber Jason, it was never officially released, so people weren't actually allowed to download it or play it because the game went offline before that update. They also did not design a pre-Uber Jason, so I think that one's out. So it's going to be interesting to see where this line goes, but at least for now we know we have Jason Goes to Hell and Takes Manhattan to look forward to. So thanks for watching my review. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you have a comment or question, leave that in the comments section below. And until next time, guys, see ya!